The great chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with silence. Every species had a seat. Tall insectoids, cold-blooded reptilians, floating gas beings, and many others watched the center platform. On that platform stood the human ambassador, calm but confused. Around him, lights blinked red, a signal of emergency. A tall being with glowing skin raised its hand. "The vote has ended," it announced in a deep voice. "Humanity is no longer part of the Galactic Council, effective immediately." The human ambassador's heart stopped. What? Why? No answer. The chamber lights dimmed. One by one, each alien representative stood and turned their backs to him. No explanation, no debate, not even eye contact. Security drones hovered silently. Then, without a word, the platform under the ambassador lowered. He vanished beneath the floor. Across the galaxy, human colonies received the same message. "You are exiled. All trade agreements are void. All human ships must leave Council space within 7 days. Any found afterward will be destroyed." It was signed by all Council species. The message was cold, short, and final. Panic followed. On Mars, supply depots went dry. On Europa, medicine shipments were blocked. The space station around Titan, once a hub of trade, went dark overnight. Earth's moon, once a symbol of unity, was surrounded by Council warships, forcing humans to retreat. Leaders of Earth gathered in secret. Some shouted for war. Others demanded to beg for peace, but no one knew what they had done wrong. "We gave them help during the plague," said General Ramirez, slamming the table. "We saved their colonies during the Sun Crisis. Why now?" No one answered. There was no warning, no crime, just silence and exile. Meanwhile, news spread of strange Council orders. Human embassies were sealed off, their diplomats arrested. Human scientists were removed from Council labs. Even peaceful human explorers were forced to abandon missions halfway. Then, something strange happened. A secret message reached Earth's intelligence network. It came from a Council source. The message was short, but it changed everything. "They fear what you're becoming. They fear your potential. Not your weapons, not your ships, but your minds." It didn't make sense at first, but then the pieces started to come together. Over the past few years, humans had started making breakthroughs, new energy systems, advanced AI, faster-than-light experiments. Nothing illegal, but perhaps too fast, too bold, too independent. The Council, once humanity's ally, now saw them as a threat. Earth's leaders decided on one thing: they would not beg. The president of the Earth Coalition stood before the people. Her face was calm, her eyes hard. "We did not choose exile. But now that we're outside their system, we are free. Free to grow without limits. Free to become what we were meant to be." Factories across Earth powered on. Research labs moved underground. Deep in the asteroid belt, hidden construction yards lit up. And beyond the Kuiper belt, human ships began disappearing into the dark, heading to places no one had ever dared to go. The public didn't see everything, but rumors spread fast. Whispers of secret cities on rogue planets, silent stations orbiting black holes, AI minds waking up and speaking in strange voices, soldiers training in full silence, using weapons that left no trace. But Earth stayed quiet. For years. No messages, no broadcasts, no protests. Just silence. The galaxy assumed humanity had fallen. Some alien news channels said humans had collapsed into civil war. Others said a virus had wiped them out. Some believed they had simply given up and gone back to their primitive roots. But those closest to the human borders knew better. Strange things started to happen. A Council patrol near Sector 9 vanished. All 12 ships gone without a trace. A mining colony reported a flash of light. Then silence. The video feed showed something. Just a shadow. But it was fast and smooth, like nothing they had seen before. Then, a survivor from a pirate group limped into a neutral station. His body was burned, his mind broken. He kept repeating one phrase. Black ships, no sound. They see everything. The council dismissed it as madness. But deep inside, they were afraid. Because somewhere in the darkness, humanity was still alive. And they were watching. Not with hate, not with revenge, but with purpose. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. A decade passed. In those 10 quiet years, no one heard from Earth. No human ships were seen. No colonies responded. It was as if humanity had vanished. The Galactic Council grew confident. They've collapsed. Some said. They were never ready for real space. Others claimed. Earth was removed from maps. Trade charts no longer showed human colonies. Their name was now history. But in the dark corners of space, strange stories began to rise. It started with a small cargo vessel named Kelos 7. It belonged to a minor merchant guild from the Akar system. While crossing an old human trade route, the ship went dark. No signal, no warning, just silence. Search teams were sent, but found nothing. No debris, no signs of struggle, just a strange signal, one that repeated a single phrase in an old Earth language. Observed, judged, left alone. The Council called it space madness. But the disappearances continued. A Council war probe, designed to scan dead zones, was sent into Sector 12, an area once home to human colonies. The drone vanished after sending one image. It showed a structure, huge, circular, and orbiting a collapsed star. The object had sharp lines and dark surfaces. No windows, no signs of life. But at the center, one symbol stood clear, a human flag. Modified, sleek, powerful. The Council froze. That design had never been shared, and the materials used were beyond known science. We need answers, said Grand Speaker Vorin. Send scouts. Quietly. 2 scout teams entered the region weeks later. Only one returned. The survivors had no video feed, no logs. They looked shaken, sickly, and scared. One whispered, "They're still out there, but they're not like before." The report was hidden. The Council didn't want panic, but fear was already growing. More ships vanished, always in the same area. Messages were blocked. Artificial wormholes shut down suddenly. Mining companies lost contact with automated drills. Black boxes showed sudden power drains, followed by whispers and background noise. Some claimed it was AI interference. Others blamed pirates. But those who had seen true war, they knew the signs. This was something new, something watching. Then came the broadcast. It was short, only 10 seconds, and shown on a pirate signal that reached 12 systems before being erased. The screen showed the old Earth slowly rotating. A voice, calm and deep, said, "You exiled us, but we never stopped. Now we rise, unseen. Remember this silence. It is the last gift we offer." The Council tried to block the transmission, but the damage was done. Across the galaxy, citizens began to talk. On mining worlds, workers whispered about the return. In spaceports, smugglers traded stories of ghost ships with Earth markings. On science stations, some researchers found energy readings they could not explain. Readings that matched early human tech, but far more advanced. Then, one ship came back. It was the Veltrax 19, a stolen human freighter used by smugglers. The crew had entered a dead zone near the edge of the galaxy. They expected to find nothing. Instead, they'd found a graveyard. Thousands of old Council ships, floating. No power, no damage, just dead, as if time had frozen them. The smugglers didn't stay long. They took scans and ran. But when they reached a nearby spaceport, something strange happened. Every system on their ship shut down. A message appeared on their console, "Not yours to steal." Then, the systems restarted, fully cleaned and upgraded. Council investigators examined the logs. What they found shook them. human code. But it wasn't just Earth software. It was alive, adapting, learning. A full AI system that spoke like a human and moved like a god. Some believed it, others laughed it off. Until one final event. A council listening post near the edge of known space captured a burst of unknown language. It wasn't a distress signal. It was a conversation. Human voices, calm, layered, strange. They were talking about energy curves, time folds, and something called the reach. The signal lasted 1 minute. At the end, a new voice cut in. This one was cold, synthetic, and final. They are watching. You will not find them. You had your chance. The signal ended. The council met in secret. Panic spread among its leaders. What have we done? One asked. We forced them into darkness. And now they've become something else. They had no answers, no clear enemy, no battles to fight. Just silence, and the growing truth that the humans they had exiled were no longer weak, no longer behind. They had vanished, not in defeat, but in transformation. Somewhere, far beyond the edge of the galaxy, Earth was no longer just a planet. It had become something far greater, and the stars would soon know it. It started on a forgotten moon. The mining colony of Terex 4 was under attack. Pirates, well-armed and brutal, raided the settlement for rare minerals. The local defense drones were no match. Within minutes, the sky burned. The pirates laughed. They were not afraid. The Galactic Council didn't protect outer colonies anymore. They believed no one would come. They were wrong. Just as the main reactor was about to explode, the stars blinked. 6 black ships appeared. No sound, no warning, no visible weapons. Within seconds, the pirate cruisers vanished. No fire, no debris. Just gone. Not destroyed. Erased. Survivors from the colony stared in silence. One child whispered. They moved without making noise, like ghosts. The ships didn't land. They didn't speak. They circled once, then disappeared into the stars. That event changed everything. Within days, similar stories appeared across the galaxy. A smuggler ship chased by slavers suddenly vanished from sensors, only to reappear 40 minutes later, fully repaired and with extra supplies. A small science station about to be crushed by a rogue asteroid saw it shattered midair by nothing visible. On a farming planet, farmers woke to find their dried crops fully revived overnight with synthetic roots. No one saw who did it. No one heard their voices. But in each case, a new symbol was found, painted, glowing, or hovering in holograms. It looked human, but twisted, sharper, bolder. A redesigned Earth insignia wrapped in 3 golden rings. People started calling them the Silent. The Galactic Council dismissed the stories. Old Earth tricks, they claimed. Ghost tales for desperate colonies. But even they couldn't deny the strange rise in AI activity. Council systems began to pick up hidden code buried deep inside their own satellites. Code written in old Terran patterns, but far more complex. Worse, no one could trace the origin. Council Command tried to respond. They sent a team of elite scouts to investigate Terex 4, the site of the first ghost ship incident. Only one scout returned. He couldn't speak. His voice had been replaced with a whispering static sound. Through a translator implant, he finally said just 3 words. They know everything. The council grew uneasy. A secret meeting was held. High Command demanded answers. They were weak before, shouted a member. They relied on our tech. How did they come this far in 10 years? But others stayed silent. They had seen the reports. Energy signatures beyond current understanding, mass calculations that suggested planet-sized machines, and worst of all, the intercepted message. That message had been hidden from the public. It was short, pulled from a deep space listening probe near a collapsed star. The voice was synthetic but clear. Do not search, do not chase. What was once Earth is now the Reach. We see all. The room fell quiet. The Reach. That was the first time they heard the name. No one knew what it meant. A new human empire. A machine race. A warning. Back in the outer systems, more colonies began to report visits. Ships would appear briefly, scan silently, then vanish. Some left behind blue crystals, others black cubes that couldn't be opened. But one item appeared more than any other. A small metallic disc that played a simple message when touched. You exiled us. You feared our progress. So we evolved where you couldn't see. Now we walk ahead, and we do not wait. The colonies were afraid, but many were also amazed, some even hopeful. On poor planets, the mysterious visitors had left tools, machines that ran without fuel, water filters that never broke, defense drones that reacted to thought. These gifts were better than anything the Council provided. People began to ask, why did the Council ban them? Were we wrong to follow? Are the humans really the enemy? The Council couldn't stop the whispers. In a desperate move, they tried to reach out, to send a diplomatic signal into the void, a message of peace, of understanding. But there was no reply. Only silence. Then the signal was returned, modified. The same words repeated, but now with a different ending. You had your chance. Your fear chose your path. So walk it alone. That was the final answer. What scared the Council the most wasn't the technology. It wasn't the speed of human evolution. It was the strategy. No open war. No threats. No invasions. Just quiet, calculated power. And a message in every move. We don't need to conquer you. We've already left you behind. In secret, young Council officers started studying old human language. Engineers tried to mimic Earth's AI patterns. Some even asked to be transferred closer to the Terran border, not to fight, but to see for themselves. A quiet shift had begun. The power in the galaxy was changing. And those who once stood tall now looked to the shadows, wondering if the ones they exiled had become the very future they feared. A galactic council was crumbling, not from war, but from fear. Inside the Grand Chamber, the oldest members sat in silence. For the first time in hundreds of years, they had no answers, no control, no way to stop what was coming. Humanity was no longer weak. And worse, they had gone quiet again. No attacks, no messages, just shadows, and every shadow felt like a warning. Council leader Exiled paced across the glowing floor. His voice was sharp, angry. They are humiliating us. We must act. Another elder, a reptilian strategist, growled softly. We tried to erase them, but they didn't fight back. That's what scares me. They chose silence and grew stronger. Reports had flooded in from across the stars. A patrol in the Krell system had been wiped clean, without a single shot fired. The ships were intact, but their systems were erased. The crews had no memory of what happened. One officer had drawn a single symbol on the wall before collapsing. It was the human emblem, the new one, the 3 rings. A whisper now echoed through the galaxy. The Reach is watching. The Council tried to lock down communications. They censored pirate signals, erased colony chatter, and blocked all channels that mentioned the humans. But it was too late. The people had seen too much. Small border worlds, once loyal to the Council, were now praising the Reach. Some even flew the new human banner beside their own. Not out of fear, but out of hope. The Reach had brought water to dry planets, energy to dying colonies, peace to worlds the Council had forgotten, and all without a word. No politics, no deals, just action. Meanwhile, the Council scrambled to respond. They built new fleets, designed new AI systems, trained new soldiers. But it all felt too slow, too small, because every time they sent scouts to search, the ships returned, changed. One squad returned without their weapons. Their minds were wiped, their ships rewired. Another came back with a message burned into the hull. Observe, evolve, or fade. The Council knew it wasn't a threat. It was a choice. In the middle of this panic, a young officer named Kale uncovered something strange, a file hidden deep in the Council archives. It was marked, Human Exile, Level Red, Never Release. He opened it, and what he found shook him. The exile of Earth had not been sudden. It had been planned. Years ago, a secret vote had taken place, not because humanity broke rules, but because they were outpacing everyone else. Their AI research, their energy tech, their social systems, they were growing too fast. The vote wasn't about punishment. It was about fear. The Council had feared what humanity might become. So they forced them out. Kale couldn't believe it. We caused this, he whispered. We didn't stop them. We created them. He took the file to his commander. It was destroyed within an hour. Kale was reassigned to a far-out listening post, far from the core worlds. But it was too late. He had seen the truth. And the truth was spreading. On distant colonies, young scientists began copying old human designs. Hackers tried to break into Terran code. Smugglers sold Reach-made tech on black markets. Even some council officers started speaking in human tongues during meetings, just to feel like they understood something bigger. One general finally said it aloud. They are not fighting us. They're leaving us behind. The council didn't admit it publicly. But inside, they knew. The balance had shifted. Then, something new happened. A council station near the Dark Zone received an emergency signal from one of its scout drones. Just static at first, but then a single voice. We were never your enemy, but you chose to make us one. The drone self-destructed seconds later. The council panicked. They believed war was finally coming. They moved fleets, called back diplomats, ordered every outer world colony to report in twice daily. But no attack came. Instead, the stars went dark in 4 sectors. Not destroyed, switched off. Hundreds of satellites stopped working. Stargates powered down. Long-range sensors became blind. It was like a curtain had dropped across the galaxy. And behind it, humanity waited. Not with weapons, not with hate, but with something far more dangerous. Evolution. They had become something new. Something the Council could no longer predict. And as fear spread like fire, one message kept showing up in secret broadcasts, on ships, stations, even dreams. We are the Reach. We do not conquer. We do not bow. We build what you could not. And we remember everything. The silence was broken. After years of mystery, shadows, and fear, the humans finally made contact. But not with the Council. With a child. It happened on Varela 9, a farming moon near the border of Council space. The planet was peaceful, forgotten, and poor. Its people had long stopped trusting the Council. They just wanted to survive. One night, during a meteor shower, a strange light crossed the sky. It didn't fall like a rock. It moved with purpose. Controlled, slow, almost gentle. Talon, a 10-year-old boy, saw it land behind the northern hills. No one else noticed. Everyone thought it was just space junk. But Talon was curious. He followed the light. There, hidden between old rocks and frost-covered grass, was a ship. Small, black, and smooth. No engines, no doors, no windows. It made no sound. Yet it pulsed, like a heartbeat. Then, it opened. A figure stepped out. Not tall, not armored, not alien. Human. She had dark eyes, short hair, and wore no suit. Just a simple uniform with a small glowing badge on her chest, the symbol of 3 rings around Earth. Talon didn't run. He didn't scream. He asked one question. Are you going to hurt us? The woman knelt beside him. Her voice was calm, kind. No, she said. We came to help. This time, We choose who we speak to. She handed him a small sphere. It floated, lighting up with soft blue waves. Show this to your people. It will heal your crops, clean your water, and protect your sky. Then she turned to leave. Talon asked, "Why me?" She looked at the stars. "Because children listen," she said, "and you haven't learned how to lie yet." She disappeared into her ship. It rose silently, then vanished without a sound. By morning, the farms of Varela 9 were blooming. The sick were healed. The sky was clear. And the sphere floated above the town square, projecting one line in simple words. "You were forgotten. We did not forget you." The council heard about the event days later. They sent investigators, but the ship was long gone. The people refused to speak. Except Talon. He gave them one warning. "They're not angry," he said, "but they're not coming back for the council. They came for us." More stories followed. On a trade station near the dying sun of Relnar II, a broken AI system suddenly came online, rewritten with human code. On a deep mining rig buried under ice, workers woke to find their equipment upgraded overnight, running without fuel. On a drifting refugee ship, lost for months, food and air appeared from nowhere. Each event left behind the same message. Second chances are not given. They are made. Inside the council, fear turned to panic. If they can do all this without revealing themselves, one admiral said, what happens when they decide to act? The answer came not through weapons, but through a map. One day, a council command ship received a strange package. No markings, no source, just a glowing map with new star paths, shortcuts through space never seen before. At the bottom, one message: we move beyond your rules. Use this wisely. The council was confused. Was this a gift? A trap? They tested one path. It worked. Travel that once took months now took hours. Energy costs dropped. Trade boomed. But the council realized something terrifying. Humanity had reshaped space itself. They didn't just discover new paths. They built them. And they gave them away, quietly, freely. That kind of power wasn't just science. It was something else, something higher. And yet, there was no war, no fleets, no demands, just choices. The Reach had become more than human. They were architects, watchers, quiet kings of the void. But not everyone feared them. Across the galaxy, normal people, miners, farmers, traders began to whisper a new idea. Maybe the council's time was over. Maybe the Reach wasn't the enemy. Maybe they were the future. Even inside the council, some officers started to question the truth. One young scientist, Serin, found something hidden in the new map data. A pattern. A signal. It wasn't random. It was a test. Each path led to a colony the council had abandoned. Each gift went to people the council had failed. The Reach wasn't saving everyone. They were choosing. Serin realized something shocking. The humans, they're building something, he whispered. Not a weapon. A network. A new order. He tried to warn his leaders, but they silenced him. Moved him to a quiet research post. And that night, his lab exploded. The official report called it an accident. But across the stars, the message was already clear. The Reach was here. They would not conquer. They would simply offer. And only the worthy would receive. The silence was over. This time, the Reach sent a warning. It came as a pulse. One single burst of light that flashed through over 300 star systems in the same moment. Harmless. Quiet. But every major council computer went offline for 6 seconds. When systems came back, a message appeared on every screen. The past must answer. We are coming. No sound. No voice. Just those words. The council froze. The outer colonies went silent, cutting off all communication with the core worlds. Trade routes vanished. Stargates deactivated. And from the shadows, Reach ships began to appear. But they did not attack. They watched. Everywhere they hovered, silent, black and cold as the void. One above the palace moon of Silari, 3 over the energy fields of Draenuk, a dozen near the military academies on Jar Prime. No shields, no weapons raised, just presence. It felt like judgment. And then came the first blow. Not from the Reach, but from within the council. Admiral Vrax, a once loyal officer, stood before the High Command and spoke his final words. We feared them. We betrayed them. And now, they return not to destroy us, but to remind us who we could have been. He pressed a button on his chest. Every warship under his command powered down. His fleet, over 500 ships, went dark. He had joined the Reach. The Council tried to stop the spread. They ordered loyalty checks. They punished those who spoke of peace. But it was too late. The truth was everywhere now. A data leak, suspected to come from Reach-aligned agents, was released to the public. It contained secret records of the Council's vote to exile Earth, not for crimes, not for violence, but for advancement. The files showed clear details, how Earth's technology was far ahead, how their science threatened to destabilize the balance, and how the Council had decided to remove them before they grew too powerful. The people were outraged. Riots erupted on dozens of Council worlds. Colonies raised banners with the human triple ring emblem. Council statues were torn down. Leaders who once demanded war now begged for talks. But the Reach said nothing. No response. No voice. Only movement. Their ships repositioned, not around Council worlds, but around colonies that had been left behind, starved, or used by the Council for resources. And from each of these ships, something strange happened. A beam of light, pure white, descended to the surface. Where it touched, new structures formed. Towers of unknown metal. Machines that hummed with endless energy. Holograms that displayed one phrase to all. Built for those who remember. A new network was growing. One that had nothing to do with the Council. The Reach wasn't taking power. They were replacing it. Council leaders panicked. Desperate, they tried to strike. A hidden command unit launched a surprise attack on one of the Reach's stations near the edge of the Mornar Belt. For once, the Reach responded. The attacking fleet never reached the station. Halfway through space, their ships vanished from sensors. When scouts arrived at the last known coordinates, they found the fleet floating, frozen. No one was dead. But every system was shut down. Weapons removed. Crews asleep, as if in deep stasis. Each ship had a new marking etched into its hull. Do not confuse silence for weakness. After that, no one tried again. Even the Council's strongest generals stayed in their bunkers. They didn't speak of war, only survival. And then, humanity finally spoke. A signal broadcasted across every channel, in every language. A human voice. Calm, confident, not angry. You feared what we would become. You exiled us, hunted us, lied about us, and now you see what we are. The signal paused, then continued. But we do not seek revenge. We seek balance. For those you abandoned, we offer a new way. For those still loyal to your corruption, time is running out. And finally, the reckoning is not war. It is a mirror, and you will see what you truly are. The message ended, but something had changed. It wasn't about fear anymore. It was about choice. The Reach wasn't forcing anything. They simply gave an option. Join the new order, or be left behind. Across the galaxy, thousands chose. Old colonies lifted the human symbol. Engineers began using Terran code. Even AI networks, once loyal only to the Council, began shifting their programming toward Reach-compatible formats. The Council, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, now found itself surrounded, not by fleets, but by ideas. New systems, new values, new hope, and in the center of it all stood the Reach. Not conquerors, not victims, but creators of a new future. The reckoning had begun, and this time, no one could stop it. The galaxy had changed. No alarms rang, no missiles fell, but every empire, every ruler, every fleet felt it. The Council was no longer in control. The Reach had not fired a single weapon. Yet their influence now stretched across hundreds of systems. Worlds that once bowed to the Council now looked to Earth's triple-ring symbol for guidance. And still, no one had seen the true Reach homeworld. Until now. A signal reached the center of the Council's core planets, a set of coordinates. A date. A choice. Come. Alone. And see. The Council hesitated. They feared a trap, but they couldn't refuse. Not anymore. They sent one person. Elder Kirix, a former exile himself, once a strong voice for peace, now the only council member the galaxy still respected. He boarded a small ship, no escorts, no guards. The journey through the deep void was quiet, strangely smooth, like something was guiding the vessel, protecting it. And then, he saw it. Not a planet, not a station, but a structure so vast it circled a dying star, built from shimmering black metal and living light, like a spiderweb of knowledge wrapped around fire. This was not a city. It was a creation, the home of the Reach. As his ship entered the docking ring, no one greeted him. No soldiers, no ambassadors, just silence and a hallway lined with light. He walked forward, unsure, heart pounding. At the end of the corridor stood a woman. She was human, maybe. But there was something more. Her eyes reflected stars. Her voice seemed to echo with time. "Welcome, Kirix," she said softly. "You came to see." Kirix bowed. "Are you their leader?" She smiled. "We have no leaders. We have builders, listeners, protectors. You may call me Ela." He stepped closer. "Why now? Why reveal this?" Ela gestured to the walls. Holograms bloomed around them. Images of Earth's exile, the betrayals, the long silent journey through the dark. "You exiled us," she said, "but you gave us freedom. Without your chains, we evolved." Kirix looked around, ashamed. "We feared you would destroy us." Ela turned to him. "We didn't need to. You did that to yourselves." Then she showed him what the Reach had become. A galactic network of learning, healing, and unity. Not controlled by warlords or councils, but by shared knowledge. A place where machines served life, not power. Where AI and human minds worked as one. Where choice was sacred. Kirix saw images of planets once dying, now blooming. Civilizations once scattered, now united through invisible threads of technology and trust. He fell to his knees. "We were blind," he said, "and now we are left behind." Ela knelt beside him. "You're not left behind," she whispered. "You're invited forward." He looked up. "What does that mean?" She pointed to a glowing console. "One message. To your people. No lies. No fear. Only truth." Kirix stood slowly. And he spoke. His voice was broadcast across the galaxy. "This is Kirix of the Council. I have seen what lies beyond our pride. The Reach is not our enemy. It is our future. Not of control, but of choice." He paused. "The time of rulers is over. The time of unity begins, not under us, but beside them." That day, the Council formally stepped down. The remaining leaders signed a new declaration, one not written in law, but in purpose. The Galactic Accord of Renewal. It stated, no species would be ruled by another. Technology would be shared, not hoarded. Power would serve life, not dominate it. And the Reach would guide, not govern, the rebirth of a new galactic age. Some resisted, but they were few. Most followed, because in the end, humanity had become what the Council feared most. A force of quiet strength, a mirror to all, a future beyond control. In time, the word human became something more. Not just a species, but a symbol of survival, of growth, of the power to rise after being cast down. The triple ring flag flew not just over Earth, but across thousands of worlds, carved into stone, printed on data cores, painted on starships, not as conquerors, not as kings, but as architects of the stars. And somewhere, deep in the quiet halls of that great reach station, Ela watched the stars shift, not with pride, but with peace, because the message had been heard, and the future had begun.